And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at Unita. This is a game that includes 64 dice or cubes. These are big, giant, chunky dice. And this game from Asmodee is one of the most beautiful boards I've ever seen. It's really cool looking. But the game itself, you have these, look at the front cover here and you see these guys, big fighting. That's what you're doing. You're having your armies fight each other. But this is, be warned, very much an abstract game. The war is very generic and basic, and dice fight each other. Doesn't mean it's a bad game. Let's take a look. At the beginning of the game, players are going to place out these dice. They're actually not dice. These are just soldiers, and they each have a starting amount of life points, LP, which is denoted by a different color. So this one's 3, and then 2, 1, and when he's down to 0, there's the symbol of his army. And you're going to put these down in any kind of groupings you want. Just the only stipulation is the 2 5s have to be in different groupings. So players will place them. There's spots on the board for them, and this is the spots for the starting for each of the 4 colors. Each color has a track. Yellow's track goes like this, greens goes like this, reds goes here, and blues comes around in the middle. The middle's where you're trying to get to, and the goal of the game is to get your guys out with as many life points as possible. Whoever has the most life points of units, once you move into this spot, you bring them off the board, and the most life points is the winner of the game. Now, on your turn, you have 3 movement points. So if I was yellow, I could say 1, 2, and 3. I can move them any way I want to, always moving towards the middle. Now, when you move next to another player, a battle occurs. And the front 2 guys of each unit are going to fight each other. So here, the 4 and the 1 go up against the 4 and the 3. Now, 3 beats a 1, which causes the 1 to go to 0 life points. 4 and 4 are tied, so in that case we go to the backup die. 3 beats 1, so here 4 goes down to 3 life points. Once we're done doing that, the guys in the back switch, go around, and now they basically have switched positions, and we continue to move and go. You do not have another battle immediately. It's only when you first move into a spot. And that is pretty close to the game itself. When you get to a corner, you don't rotate, you just move, you just slide around as you move, so you'll have different sides facing different people. At the beginning of the game, players will place some tiles on their board, and when you move onto a tile, you'll flip it over, see what kind of terrain it is, and different kinds of terrains will give you maybe +1 when you're attacking, in this case, or maybe -1 for your opponent, or -1 for you when you're attacking, but +1 on defense, etc. Each player also has 3 special cards, and they can use one of these cards once during the game. So if you're playing a 2-player game, each player is going to control 2 colors, and you'll add the totals together. And if you're playing a 3-player game, then you look at the other side of the board here, and you can see that it's set up as a 3-player. It actually looks pretty cool. Anyway, most life points at the end of the game is the winner. I'm hesitant to call Unita a bad game, but I won't hesitate to call it a boring game and an obtuse game, in the sense that I suppose you can think of strategy to put your dice and say, I'm going to move there before he can move there, and then they'll fight and they'll move here, and then I can move there. I was totally lost in every game, just trying to randomly move, but it was so boring. The combat is obvious. The terrain tiles that flip are very boring. The single cards you can play, whoopee-doo, once over the course of the game. By the way, it's a very bad mechanism to have 3 cards with no text on them. So the player has to look here at the back of the thing to see what their 3 cards do. And you're reading this and constantly saying, okay, I'm going to have to use 1. Not to mention these fighting nuns. That's ridiculous. But anyhow, the game just has no soul, nothing in it. There's nothing to draw you. Maybe some people go, that's interesting, this movement. But if that's true, then why all this color? I mean, this board is phenomenal. It is amazing. These dice are really cool. I mean, other than it's hard to read the red dots and the blue dice, but still really cool. And yet we move them, higher number beats lower number, everyone go to the back of the line. It's just this very mechanical monster that, to me, defies any kind of long-term strategy or short-term tactics. This game, like I said, I don't know if it's a bad game or not. Maybe people who are really good at it can tell me all these strategies, but it was just so dense and boring. I was falling asleep playing this, and it plays so slowly. And you're like, finally, it's over. Who has more life points? Who cares? And that's not very good for me then. So maybe you would like this. I don't think so. I don't think this is a game many people are going to enjoy. I think folks who like deep abstract games, and I like abstract games, aren't looking for this humongous amount of theme that's pretending to be there, and everyone else is just going to get kind of lost in the whole, what does it matter where I move my pieces and when? I know it does, but it's so thinky and so far out there that it just, to me, no fun in this box.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door!
There.